Make sure you guys are using the scientific method.
What's that?
Trouble with the scientific method. Do you think you can give me a quick lesson on it?
Yeah, I got you, bro.
All
Ask
right,
me
I
whatever
have
you
like
want.
a list of questions for you. My first question is, so who created the scientific method?
You won't believe what his name was.
What's his name?
Francis Bacon.
Francis Bacon?
Yeah,
Yeah, his parents must have hated him.
I agree.
Yeah. So can you like explain a little more about him, like who he was as a person, or
So,
how he led up to
this
that?
guy, Francis Bacon, so he's usually credited with formalizing the process of the scientific method, and his work is emphasized on empiricism and observation in science, especially after he published the Novum Organum or something like that in 1620.
Okay, and so what are the main steps of the scientific method? I know the basics of like hypothesis and all that stuff from sixth grade, obviously, but I don't really know it a little more.
I got you, bro. I got you. So, start off with observation, then we got question, and then hypothesis, and then experiment, and then data collection, then analysis, conclusion, and then peer review. Those are like the steps of the scientific method.
So it's like a couple more steps than what we did in sixth grade.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, and so when did people start using the scientific method, like us? You know?
It was like it started like popping up around the scientific revolution, which took place in the 16th to 18th centuries.
And can you like explain the scientific revolution, like, briefly, nothing crazy?
Um,
Was it
so
like?
it's basically when
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So it's just a period that saw move away from more religious things, and it went toward like the philosophical expansions of the natural world, toward like more empirical and experimentation and more like rational thought instead of just focusing on just straight religion.
And I have another question. You know the scientist that used like the telescope to study space? What was
Oh
his
yeah, that
name?
was Galileo Galilei.
Did he like use the scientific method as well?
Yeah, he did. Like
And
he used it to study space and prove that the sun is the center.
can you explain what a hypothesis is? It's like an educated guess, but
It's like a guess that like you could test based on the things that you already know, like an educated guess.
yeah, an educated guess. And another question: what book did Nicholas Core something write that said the sun is like we're orbiting the sun, like not the sun
Oh
orbiting us?
yeah, you're talking about the revolutions of the celestial spheres. That was in 1543.
Oh, that's a nice one. Okay, and what did Francis Bacon say about science?
Um, I think he test their ideas by observing and experimenting instead of just trusting old beliefs.
What do you mean by that?
Like instead of just testing, or instead of just not testing, like things like how the sun is the center or whatever. How we saw that one dude Galileo find it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just trusting the books, like the testaments or whatever that got passed down, they should go and experiment and try to find out themselves if it was actually true.
Okay, that's a good answer. And how did the scientific method lead to new ideas about government and rights, like in general?
Well, it taught people and things and used reason, and it helped inspire people about the democracy and freedom.
Okay, and another question: why did Galileo get in trouble with the Catholic Church?
I mean, he said that the sun was the solar system, but the church didn't agree with it, so they were about to put him on trial and then punish him for it.
So they're probably just gonna kill him.
Probably.
Yeah. And another question: how did the scientific method help invent new machines in the Industrial Revolution, like factories and whatever?
Well, people used the science to create new and better tools and machines and even medicines. Like this would help the environment and the economy a lot more.
And like I know America's factories and whatever, but how did Europe spread the science to their nation?
So, you know how there was a lot of European explorers?
Mm-hmm.
So, these European explorers and the scientists, they shared their discoveries around the world, but they also ignored many ideas from other cultures, which they shouldn't have, but still worked out in the end.
And another question. I keep asking questions. How did Isaac Newton use the scientific method?
Well, Isaac Newton studied gravity. You know how the apple fell on his head or whatever?
Oh, physics.
So he studied gravity by observing, testing, and using math to explain how things move. Thank God for him we have gravity, bro.
And how do people still use the scientific method today? That's an easy question.
That's one light work, bro. Scientists use it to make new medicines, study weather, explore space, and even like build new technologies.
And don't forget the science fair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. I know a lot more now than I did before, and thank you for teaching me.
Oh snap.